All right, guys, so you should have your two piles, your triangles, and then your rectangles and your squares, okay? What I'm going to teach you now is all of these shapes in front of you, the triangles, the rectangles, and the squares all have one thing in common, okay? And I want you to think about that. Yes, some of them have 4 corners and 4 sides. Some have 3 corners and 3 sides, but what do they all have in common? In this specific pile, what they all have in common is something called a square corner. Okay, so I want you to look at this square and look at the way the corners are. When you look at the corners, it is a perfect, like L shape, right? Can you do that with your hands? A perfect L shape. Okay, it's like an angle that is perfect. Okay, it's called a square corner. Okay, now squares have 4 square corners. Rectangles also have 4 square corners. Every single one of the corners are like this. Okay, now let's compare it to one of our orange triangles. Okay, first graders, this is not a square corner right here. Do you see that? How the angles, instead of being a perfect square corner, it's kind of like that. It's small. This is a small corner. It's not a square corner. And neither is this one. But this one is. And the way to test if it's a square corner or not is put it with a square like this and have the corners match up. Okay? So this triangle has a square corner. Now let's switch it up and try and fit this one perfectly in this corner. How would I do that? Okay. If I was trying to make this fit perfectly right there, do you see what I'm saying? That corner is skinnier. It's not a perfect square corner. Okay, so the pile of shapes that you have today, they are all perfect square corners. So I want you to try and match up all of your square corners. You could just make a nice little pile in front of you of all the square corners. All right, all of these match perfectly like that. Okay, now the next thing after you do that is I need to teach you that rectangles and squares both have 4 sides. They both have 4 square corners, right? A triangle, all these triangles, they only have 1 square corner, just one. Okay, but rectangles and squares have 4 sides and 4 square corners. Now, there's a rule to be a square. If you are a shape and you want to be a square, there are 2 rules. You have to have 4 sides and 4 square corners. So let's look at this. This shape, first graders, you would probably say, when you look at this, you'd say it's a rectangle. And it is. But it has 4 sides and it has 4 square corners as well. So what you need to know from here going on is that rectangles, they are rectangles because they have 2 longer sides, but they are also squares. Rectangles are special squares because they still have 4 sides and they have 4 square corners. They follow the rules that you have to be. You have to have these rules to be a square. And then the rectangles follow the rules. So I know I sound crazy right now, and this is a big challenge every year with my first graders. But what you need to remember in your brain is that rectangles are special squares, okay? All right, once you have done all of this, you are going to get out your math workbooks. And I believe, let's see what page number we are on now. You guys are doing page 215 and 216, okay? The directions up here say which shapes are not rectangles or squares. So you're gonna cross off the ones that are not rectangles or squares, okay? Remember, if it has 4 sides and 4 square corners, it is a rectangle or a square. Even if it's tilted sideways, still check. Are there 4 sides and 4 square corners? Okay, and then down here it gives you some rules of shapes and you get to draw them yourself. Okay, when you go to the back, Just follow these directions. Easy peasy, okay? All right, I hope I didn't confuse you too much. When you are done today, a fun activity, if you want extra stuff, is you are welcome to do whatever you want with these shapes. You could create a cool robot and glue it down and send me a picture on Seesaw. Do whatever you want with these shapes. If you're just done and want to throw them away, that's okay. Or if you want to use them to create something, you can do that too.